I walked into the conference room thinking it was just another Monday check-in. Lisa sat across from me, her smile colder than usual. Beside her was Janet from HR, holding a thick folder. My stomach dropped. "Kathryn, we need to discuss some serious concerns," Lisa began, her voice sharp. "There have been reports of inappropriate client interactions on the Hudson account." My mouth went dry. "What kind of reports?" "Boundary crossing, overstepping your role, making promises outside your authority." Each word hit like a slap. "Effective immediately. You're suspended without pay pending investigation." I stared at them, speechless. Hudson Industries was Lisa's biggest client. I'd worked on their account for 8 months, building relationships, delivering results. Their CEO had literally told me last week how much they valued my work. "I don't understand," I managed. "Can you be more specific about these allegations?" Janet slid the folder across the table. "It's all documented here. You're not to contact anyone connected to the Hudson account during your suspension." Lisa's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Your access will be revoked within the hour." I looked between them, my heart pounding. This felt wrong. Very wrong. But I took the folder with shaking hands and walked out. By lunch, my world had disappeared. My company laptop logged me out automatically. My email bounced back. "Access denied," messages. When I tried to badge into the building, the red light blinked mockingly at me. I sat in my car, staring at the office windows. 20 minutes ago, I had a career. Now I was officially nothing. Janet had made it crystal clear during our brief exit conversation. Any attempt to contact Hudson Industries employees, vendors, or stakeholders will result in immediate termination. No exceptions. The isolation hit me harder than expected. I couldn't call my work friends, couldn't check on my projects, couldn't even clean out my desk properly. I drove home in a daze, the suspension folder unopened on my passenger seat. My apartment felt foreign, too quiet. I'd spent most of my waking hours at the office for 3 years. Without it, I felt untethered. Around dinner time, I finally opened the folder. The allegations were vague, bureaucratic nonsense, exceeded authority in client communications, made unauthorized commitments regarding project timelines, displayed unprofessional familiarity with client personnel. I read it twice, then 3 times. None of it made sense, but someone had taken the time to write it all down. 3 weeks earlier, everything had been perfect. Michael Hudson, the CEO of Hudson Industries, had invited Lisa and me to dinner at the downtown Hilton. Their quarterly review had gone incredibly well, and he wanted to celebrate. We sat in the hotel restaurant, expensive wine flowing freely. Michael was relaxed, laughing at our stories about office life. He'd always been friendly, but that night felt different. More personal. "You know, Kathryn," he said, cutting his steak, "you just get us. Our culture, our goals, our challenges." He looked directly at me. "Have you ever thought about leading this account full-time?" I nearly choked on my wine. "That's very flattering, but Lisa's great." Michael interrupted, glancing at her briefly. "But you have something special, a connection with our team that's rare in this business." I looked at Lisa, expecting her to jump in. She was smiling, but her knuckles were white around her wine glass. "We should definitely discuss expanding Kathryn's role," she said smoothly. "The team dynamics have been excellent." Michael nodded enthusiastically. "Exactly what I'm thinking. Kathryn, let's talk more about this soon." I remember feeling excited, but also nervous. Lisa was my boss, my mentor. I didn't want to step on her toes. If only I'd known she was already planning to cut mine off. 2 days into my suspension, Maya and Josh reached out. They were careful, meeting me separately at a coffee shop downtown. Both looked nervous, checking over their shoulders like we were planning something illegal. "Lisa's been talking about you for months," Maya whispered, stirring her latte absently. "She told me you were getting too close to Hudson, trying to steal her crown jewel." Josh nodded grimly. "She said you were positioning yourself to take over the account behind her back, made it sound like you were scheming." My blood ran cold. I never. Michael Hudson suggested expanding my role, but I didn't pursue it. I told him Lisa was. "That dinner sealed it for her," Maya interrupted. "She came back to the office the next day furious, kept muttering about ambitious little girls who don't know their place." Josh leaned closer. "Kathryn, she's been building a case against you for weeks, documenting every email, every phone call. She wanted you gone." The pieces clicked into place. Lisa hadn't just suspended me on a whim. This was calculated, planned, deliberate. She'd used Hudson's compliment as ammunition against me. "What about the allegations?" I asked. Maya and Josh exchanged glances. "Complete garbage," Josh said flatly. "But she has allies in HR." Janet from HR wasn't just a neutral party. She was Lisa's college roommate from 15 years ago. I discovered this little detail through LinkedIn, of all places. Their mutual photos went back years. Lisa had played this perfectly. She'd gone to her friend with concerns about my behavior, providing carefully curated evidence of my supposed overreach. Janet had fast-tracked the suspension paperwork without a proper investigation. I spent hours researching company policies, looking for loopholes or protections I might have missed. The employee handbook was thick, boring, and filled with legal jargon. But buried in Section 12, under grievance procedures, I found something interesting. Any employee could submit a formal appeal of disciplinary action through written submission to both HR and legal. The appeal had to include documentation supporting their position. I started writing immediately. Not emotional pleading or angry accusations, just facts, timelines, evidence, email threads showing my professional communication with Hudson Industries, performance reviews highlighting my success on the account. I kept the tone clinical, professional. Let the evidence speak for itself. The appeal went to Janet in HR and to Marcus Webb, the company's general counsel. I hand-delivered both copies, making sure to get signed receipts. Now I had to wait and see if anyone was actually listening. Within a week, cracks started showing in the Hudson account. I heard about it through careful networking, former colleagues willing to share bits of information over coffee or quick phone calls. The first sign was a missed deadline. Hudson had requested a strategy revision by Friday. Lisa's team delivered it on Monday, 3 days late. Michael Hudson's assistant sent a terse email. "Please confirm future deadlines can be met as agreed." Then came the miscommunication. Hudson wanted to expand their digital marketing budget by 30%. Lisa's team somehow interpreted this as a 30% cut and prepared a downsized proposal. The client had to correct them twice. By week 2, the weekly status calls were getting shorter. Michael Hudson's usual friendly banter was replaced by pointed questions about project management and communication protocols. Doris, one of the junior account managers, texted me. "Hudson asked where you were today. Lisa said you were pursuing other opportunities." He looked confused. I saved every piece of information, every screenshot, every forwarded email. The client relationship I'd helped build over 8 months was deteriorating in real time. Part of me felt vindicated. Part of me just felt sad. Hudson Industries deserved better than this. The employee handbook became my Bible. I read every section, every subsection, every footnote. Section 12.4 was particularly interesting. Employees subject to disciplinary action may request an independent review if significant procedural errors are identified. I drafted my appeal carefully, focusing on 3 key points. First, the allegations were vague and unsupported by specific incidents. Second, my performance reviews and client feedback contradicted the claims. Third, the suspension process had bypassed normal investigative protocols. I attached documentation for everything. Email threads with Hudson Industries showing professional, appropriate communication. Performance reviews from the past 2 years highlighting my success. Client feedback forms, praising my work and dedication. The letter was 4 pages, single-spaced, methodical. I read it out loud twice, checking for emotional language or anything that sounded whiny. This wasn't about feelings. This was about facts. I made 3 copies, one for Janet in HR, one for Marcus Webb in legal, and one for my files. Hand-delivered them on a Tuesday morning, getting signed receipts from both offices. Marcus's assistant actually read the subject line out loud. Formal appeal of disciplinary action, Kathryn Henderson. She looked at me with something that might have been sympathy. Now the waiting game began. The smoking gun arrived in my inbox on a Thursday afternoon. Tom, a friend from the creative team, had been copied on an internal email chain by accident. Lisa was discussing project assignments and had sent her message to the wrong distribution list. "When she's out," Lisa had written, "the client will fall in line. We need to move fast on reassigning her responsibilities before anyone starts asking questions." The timestamp was from 2 days before my suspension, 2 days before the alleged inappropriate client interactions had even been reported. Tom forwarded it with a simple message. "Thought you should see this." I stared at the screen, reading the email over and over. Here was proof that Lisa had decided my fate before the investigation even began. The suspension wasn't about my behavior. It was about removing me before Hudson Industries could formalize their interest in having me lead their account. I immediately forwarded the email to my personal account, then printed 3 copies. 1 for my files, and 2 more for when the time was right. Lisa had made a critical mistake. In corporate environments, email trails are everything, and she just handed me evidence of premeditation. The phrase, "the client will fall in line," particularly bothered me. It showed Lisa believed she could control Hudson Industries, manipulate them into accepting my removal. She was about to learn how wrong she was. Thank God for my paranoid backup habits. Every month I downloaded all my work emails and client correspondence to a personal drive, not because I planned to do anything shady, but because I'd lost important files to system crashes before. The Hudson Industries folder was a goldmine. 8 months of professional communication, project updates, strategy discussions, and client feedback. Nothing inappropriate or boundary crossing. Just solid, results-driven account management. The crown jewel was a voice memo Michael Hudson had sent me 3 weeks earlier. I'd requested feedback on our quarterly presentation, and he'd responded with a 2-minute audio message instead of email. "Kathryn, this is exactly what we needed." His voice was warm, enthusiastic. "You understand our brand better than most of our own employees. The strategy recommendations are spot on. Honestly, we feel like you are the project. Keep up the excellent work." I labeled it Exhibit A and saved it in multiple formats. This wasn't just client satisfaction. This was a client explicitly stating that I was central to their success. I organized everything chronologically, creating a timeline of professional interactions. Every email, every meeting summary, every deliverable. The documentation painted a clear picture of successful account management, not inappropriate boundary crossing. Lisa's allegations crumbled when compared to actual evidence. Richard Crane was a senior vice president. I'd helped during a crisis launch 2 years earlier. Our department had been brought in to salvage a product rollout that was failing spectacularly. I'd worked 18-hour days for 3 weeks, coordinating between teams and managing client expectations. He called me on a Friday evening, his voice careful but concerned. "Kathryn, I can't speak publicly about your situation, but I want you to know, I believe you." He paused. "I've been watching Lisa for a while now. Her management style, her treatment of talented team members. You're not the first person she's felt threatened by." This was huge. A senior executive expressing private support, acknowledging that Lisa had a pattern of this behavior. "If you ever need a witness to your character or your work quality, let me know," Richard continued. "I remember what you did during the Hendricks crisis. You saved our relationship with that client." I thanked him, trying to keep my voice steady. Having an ally at his level changed everything. Richard had been with the company for 12 years. His word carried weight. "One more thing," he said. "Document everything. Lisa's going to try to control the narrative, but truth has a way of surfacing if you're patient." After hanging up, I felt hope for the first time in weeks. Lisa's first major client call, without me, was a disaster. I heard about it from 3 different sources, each adding details that made the picture clearer. She'd scheduled a strategy review with Hudson Industries for Tuesday morning. According to Jenny from the creative team, Lisa had spent Monday night cramming, trying to understand client priorities she'd delegated to me for months. The call started poorly. Michael Hudson asked about the digital campaign metrics we'd discussed last week with Kathryn. Lisa stumbled, clearly unprepared for detailed questions about implementation strategies. "Where is Kathryn anyway?" Michael had asked directly. "She usually handles these specifics." Lisa's response was apparently stammered and evasive. "She's pursuing other opportunities. I'll be managing the account directly now." Michael's tone shifted immediately. "Other opportunities? We weren't informed of any transition." The call ended 15 minutes early, with Hudson requesting a follow-up meeting to discuss account management changes. Lisa looked visibly shaken when she returned to her office. Tom from Creative texted me, "She's freaking out, keeps asking if anyone has Hudson's internal contact list." The client relationship I'd built was cracking, and Lisa had no idea how to repair it. The official letter arrived on a Wednesday. Legal letterhead, formal language, my full name typed in bold across the top. A final review meeting was scheduled for exactly 4 weeks from the date of my suspension. The purpose of this meeting is to determine employment status based on investigation findings. Possible outcomes include termination, reinstatement with conditions, or full reinstatement. 4 weeks to prove my innocence. 4 weeks to save my career. I'd been preparing for this moment since day one of my suspension, but seeing it in writing made everything real. This wasn't just about getting my job back anymore. This was about proving that Lisa had orchestrated a professional character assassination. I spent the evening organizing my evidence into 3 neat binders. Binder 1, documentation of my professional relationship with Hudson Industries. Binder 2, performance reviews and client feedback contradicting the allegations. Binder 3, evidence of procedural violations in my suspension. Lisa had 4 weeks to hope I'd give up, or that Hudson Industries would quietly accept the transition. She had no idea I'd spent every day building an airtight case against her. The meeting was scheduled for 2 p.m. on a Thursday. Marcus Webb from legal would be there, along with Janet from HR and 2 senior executives I'd never met. Time to show them what really happened. My former mentor in legal, Patricia, gave me brilliant advice. If you want credibility, get independent validation. She suggested sending an anonymous satisfaction survey to former clients with proper legal clearance. Within 72 hours, I had 11 responses, each one glowing, specific, and professional. Former clients praised my communication skills, strategic thinking, and relationship management. Kathryn was the reason we renewed our contract, wrote the CEO of Bradshaw Financial. Her understanding of our business needs was exceptional. Another response from Meridian Tech. Professional, insightful, and always available when we needed guidance. Promote her already. The most powerful testimonial came from Reynolds Manufacturing. In 3 years of working with your agency, Kathryn was the only account manager who truly understood our industry challenges. She didn't just execute campaigns, she became a strategic partner. I compiled all 11 responses into a professional document, removing any identifying information to protect client privacy. The pattern was clear. Clients didn't just like working with me, they specifically requested me for their projects. This contradicted every allegation in Lisa's complaint. You don't build this kind of client loyalty through inappropriate behavior or boundary crossing. Patricia reviewed my documentation and nodded approvingly. This is solid, Kathryn. Let the evidence speak for itself. Lisa's second week, managing Hudson Industries solo, went from bad to worse. The breaking point came during a project planning meeting that turned into a shouting match. According to witnesses, Lisa became increasingly frustrated when the junior staff couldn't answer Hudson's technical questions. These were details I'd typically handled, specifics about campaign implementation and budget allocation. "I don't care what they want," Lisa had screamed at Doris, the junior account manager. "Kathryn isn't coming back, so we need to figure this out ourselves." The outburst was heard across the office. Worse, someone recorded it on their phone. Within hours, the audio was circulating through internal chat groups. Lisa's voice was clear, angry, unprofessional. "I don't care what they want. Kathryn isn't coming back." The recording eventually reached Amanda Foster, one of the senior executives scheduled to review my case. Amanda had always prided herself on maintaining professional standards and client relationships. Tom texted me, "Everyone's talking about it." Lisa looked like she wanted to disappear when she realized people heard her. The irony was perfect. Lisa had suspended me for alleged unprofessional behavior, then demonstrated actual unprofessional behavior in front of witnesses. Her credibility was crumbling in real time. The nuclear option arrived via email on a Monday morning. Michael Hudson had contacted our CEO directly, bypassing the entire account management chain. "We need to discuss the recent changes to our account management team," Hudson's email read. "Specifically, we require Kathryn Henderson's immediate return to our projects, or we will need to reconsider our partnership." The email was copied to Marcus Webb in legal, and Amanda Foster, the senior executive overseeing major client relationships. Within an hour, Hudson Industries had paused all active campaigns pending management review. Half of our quarterly revenue was suddenly frozen. Lisa tried damage control, scheduling an emergency call with Hudson's team. But Michael Hudson was done with diplomatic language. "Where is Kathryn?" he asked directly. "We were told she was pursuing other opportunities, but no one has explained what that means or why we weren't consulted about removing our primary account contact." Lisa's explanation about internal restructuring satisfied no one. Hudson ended the call with a clear ultimatum: restore Kathryn to the account within 48 hours, or they would begin evaluating alternative agencies. Our CEO, Michael Barrett, called an emergency executive meeting for Tuesday morning. The wheels were finally turning, and Lisa was about to get crushed underneath them. The all-hands meeting was scheduled for Wednesday afternoon. Michael Barrett looked grim as he addressed the assembled staff. Hudson Industries represented 23% of our annual revenue. Losing them would mean layoffs, budget cuts, and potential office closure. "We're facing a critical client relationship challenge," Michael began diplomatically. "Some recent changes have created uncertainty about account management continuity." The questions came immediately. Doris raised her hand. "Is this about Kathryn Henderson's suspension?" Michael paused, clearly uncomfortable. "Personnel matters are confidential, but I can say we're reviewing all aspects of our client management protocols." Lisa tried to control the narrative. "There have been some communication breakdowns, but we're working to resolve them professionally." "Why was Kathryn suspended?" asked Tom from Creative. Hudson specifically asked for her in 3 different meetings. "Personnel decisions are based on multiple factors," Janet from HR interjected. "We can't discuss specific disciplinary matters." But the damage was done. The entire office could see the connection between my suspension and Hudson's threat to leave. People were asking uncomfortable questions that Lisa and Janet couldn't answer without admitting their mistake. The meeting ended with more questions than answers, and Hudson's ultimatum still hanging over everyone's head. The leaked memo appeared on Reddit's Corporate Nightmares thread on Thursday night. Someone had photographed Lisa's original complaint letter, the one that started my suspension, and posted it with identifying details blacked out. The allegations looked even flimsier in Reddit's harsh light. Comments poured in. "This reads like middle school drama." "What kind of manager feels threatened by their own team's success?" "Inappropriate client interactions equals client liked her better than boss." The Reddit post gained thousands of upvotes and hundreds of comments. People shared similar stories of workplace retaliation, incompetent management, and professional sabotage. Most importantly, the post drew attention from industry professionals who recognized the patterns. Several commenters identified the behavior as classic workplace bullying disguised as performance management. "Classic case of insecure manager eliminating perceived threat," wrote someone with a verified industry flair. "Seen this playbook dozens of times." The post went viral within 48 hours. Screenshots started circulating on LinkedIn, Twitter, and industry forums. Our company's reputation for professional management was taking a public beating. Michael Barrett called an emergency meeting with legal and PR for Friday morning. The story had escaped internal containment. The executive review panel met in the large conference room on the 3rd floor. Michael Barrett, Amanda Foster, and Richard Crane sat across from me. Marcus Webb from legal took notes, while Janet from HR looked increasingly uncomfortable. I'd prepared for this moment for 4 weeks. 3 binders of evidence, organized chronologically and cross-referenced. I wore my best suit and brought multiple copies of everything. "Kathryn, thank you for your patience during this process," Michael began. "We'd like to hear your perspective on the allegations and the circumstances surrounding your suspension." I opened my first binder and began methodically. Timeline of events. Documentation of professional communication with Hudson Industries. Performance reviews showing consistently excellent ratings. Client feedback praising my work. Amanda Foster leaned forward when I played Michael Hudson's voice memo. "We feel like you are the project." "This was recorded 3 weeks before my suspension," I explained. "It contradicts allegations of inappropriate boundary crossing." Richard Crane nodded when I presented Lisa's misdirected email. She's out. The client will fall in line. Sent 2 days before the formal complaint was filed, I continued, suggesting premeditation rather than response to actual misconduct. By the time I finished my presentation, the room was silent. Wow, Amanda finally said. This is comprehensive. The verdict came Tuesday morning. Michael Barrett called me personally. Kathryn, effective immediately, you're reinstated with full back pay. All allegations have been dismissed, and your personnel file will be cleared of any reference to this incident. Relief flooded through me, but I wasn't finished yet. I appreciate that, Michael, but I have some conditions for my return. Silence on the other end. Conditions? I want full ownership of the Hudson Industries account and promotion to Director of Strategic Accounts. Lisa is removed from any supervisory role over my work. Kathryn, that's... Hudson Industries is threatening to leave specifically because of my absence. They've paused campaigns worth millions. I'm not returning to the same dysfunctional management structure that created this mess. Another pause. Let me discuss this with the executive team. He called back within 2 hours. Done. Lisa is being transferred to a different department, pending further review. You'll report directly to Amanda Foster. My email access was restored by noon. I returned to a standing ovation from my teammates and a desk buried in welcome back flowers. But the best part was watching Lisa clean out her office. She avoided eye contact as she packed her awards and personal photos. Justice felt even better than I'd imagined. My first day back included a private meeting with Amanda Foster. She offered me Lisa's old position outright, Senior Account Director, with oversight of 3 major clients, including Hudson Industries. The executive team recognizes that your skills and client relationships are too valuable to risk losing, Amanda explained. We want to ensure you have the authority and resources to succeed. I accepted immediately. The promotion came with a 40% salary increase, equity options, and a team of junior account managers reporting to me. Lisa's transfer to the Business Development Research Department was corporate speak for being shuffled into irrelevance. Her new role involved analyzing market reports and had no client contact whatsoever. During the afternoon transition meeting, I reviewed Hudson Industries' account status. 3 weeks of Lisa's management had created a backlog of missed deadlines, confused communications, and frustrated client contacts. How long to repair the relationship? Amanda asked. Give me 2 weeks, I replied confidently. Hudson knows who they want to work with. That evening, I called Michael Hudson directly. His relief was audible. Kathryn, thank God you're back. We weren't sure what happened, but we knew something was wrong. I'm sorry for the confusion, Michael. Let's schedule a strategy session and get everything back on track. Michael Hudson flew in from Chicago specifically to meet with me. He brought 2 of his senior executives and requested a private dinner to discuss the account transition. We met at the same downtown restaurant where this whole mess had started 3 months earlier. But the dynamic was completely different now. I wasn't the junior account manager hoping to impress. I was the director of strategic accounts with full authority over his company's campaigns. Kathryn, I need to tell you something, Michael said over appetizers. The way you handled the situation impressed us more than any campaign you've ever run. He explained that Hudson Industries had watched the drama unfold through delayed communications and missed deadlines. Instead of quietly accepting the transition, they'd taken a stand. We've worked with dozens of agencies over the years. Most fold immediately when we express concerns. You didn't just advocate for your clients during your suspension, you built a case that proved your value. His head of marketing nodded. You're not just an account manager, Kathryn. You're the kind of professional people want to follow. Michael raised his wine glass. To partnership, not just service. The evening ended with Hudson Industries signing a 2-year contract extension and requesting my team handle their expansion into European markets. The private meeting request came through official channels. Lisa had scheduled 30 minutes with me in Conference Room B, marked personal discussion on the calendar. She looked different when she walked in. The confident swagger was gone, replaced by nervous energy and dark circles under her eyes. Her hands shook slightly as she closed the door. Kathryn, I I need to talk to you about something. Her voice cracked on my name. I waited, saying nothing. They're not renewing my contract, she continued. HR says my position is being eliminated due to restructuring, but we both know what really happened. Still, I waited. I don't have anywhere to go. My reputation in this industry is... She gestured helplessly. Could you write me a recommendation? Just something basic about my project management skills. The request hung in the air between us. This woman had tried to destroy my career, had lied to HR, had attempted to manipulate clients into accepting my removal. I looked at her directly. Lisa, I'm not the right person to speak to your strengths. Her face crumpled. Please, Kathryn. I know I messed up. But... You didn't mess up, I interrupted quietly. You deliberately tried to sabotage my career because you felt threatened by client feedback. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. She left without another word. The HR purge happened quietly, but word spread quickly through the office. Janet, the HR representative who had fast-tracked my suspension, was pursuing opportunities elsewhere, effective immediately. Marcus Webb from legal called me with the official update. We've implemented new policies requiring third-party review of all disciplinary actions. No single HR representative can initiate suspension procedures without oversight from legal and senior management. The policy change was named the Henderson Protocol in internal documents, though they used more diplomatic language in the official announcement. Any employee facing disciplinary action would have access to independent review and appeal processes from day one. I didn't ask for the policy change, but it felt like vindication. My experience had exposed systemic problems in how the company handled workplace conflicts and personnel decisions. Doris from the account management team stopped by my office. I heard about the new policies. That's because of what happened to you, isn't it? I nodded. Hopefully, it means no one else will have to go through what I did. The best revenge wasn't just getting my job back. It was changing the system that had enabled Lisa's behavior in the first place. My silence during the suspension had been strategic, but its power extended beyond my personal case. 1 year later, an envelope arrived at my office with no return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper with Lisa's handwriting. Kathryn, you were right to say no. I was wrong about everything. I let my insecurities destroy both our careers, and I'm sorry. You deserved better, and you proved you were better. I hope you can forgive me someday. I read the letter twice, then walked to the paper shredder by my assistant's desk. The apology felt genuine, but it was a year too late, and several promotions too irrelevant. I fed the letter into the machine and watched it disappear into ribbon strips. My new office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city skyline. Natural light flooded the space, and I'd positioned my desk to face the view rather than the door. No more watching my back or second-guessing every email. Hudson Industries had become our largest client, expanding their contract twice and referring 3 new accounts. Michael Hudson and I spoke weekly, collaborating on strategy rather than just executing his requests. The mentorship program had grown to include 12 junior staff members. 2 had already been promoted based on merit rather than politics. I stepped back from my desk and looked out at the afternoon sun streaming through the windows. No shadows behind me anymore. Just clear light and an unobstructed view of what came next.